Всем привет, друзья! Вы на канале Вот такие, меня зовут Рома, и мы продолжаем видео по донатам. На данный момент это уже последний донат. Спасибо вам большое за вашу поддержку, как материальную, так и в словах, а именно в комментариях, за ваши лайки, подписки. Для меня это безумно важно и ценно. Вы знаете, что у нас есть новая цель 2000 до Нового года, поэтому я искренне надеюсь, что люди, которые смотрят это видео впервые, поставят лайк и подпишутся на канал. Спасибо вам, если вы это уже сделали. Спасибо, если это вы сделаете. Погнали смотреть, как снимали клип «Idol». Смысл? Окей, то есть тут не о том, как снимают. Смысл?
So much things are going around, and of course there are already a lot of attempts to decipher it or link it to previous theories. But rather than going into theories and unverified speculations, in today's video I will try to stay even more true to the MV and the lyrics itself.
Отлично.
There will be mainly two parts. First, the lyric and MV dissection, and second, the Korean cultural references. So without further ado, let's go into the MV and lyric dissection.
Рэм.
Artist, idol, I don't care. RM is saying that he doesn't give a shit about what people call him by anymore. But one thing to notice is, when he's saying 아니면 또 다른 뭐라 해도, he comically dances to Psy's new face choreography. So apparently, he doesn't care how many new faces he has. In the latter part of the MV, look at what the choreography looks like. You saw it, right? But let's try to chop this lyric into a different way again. Let's stop the lyrics at I don't, without the care. Not only does it sound exactly like idol, connecting it with the second line that comes before it, it becomes like this. So if you try to chop the lyrics in that way, it would have the meaning of, whatever you choose to call me, aren't you going to call me an idol again? This is called a 답정너 situation in Korean, which means you've already set your own answer inside your head anyway.
Ай, да, блин. Прикольно, это интересно. Я вообще, блин, мне нравятся разборы фильмов, но вот разборы клипов, блин, ну, извините, у BTS такие клипы, которые нужно еще и разбирать. Блин, круто. Давайте дальше. Я надеюсь, что это корректная вся информация, потому что многие пишут, что там чему-то можно верить, чему-то нельзя верить. Вот, надеюсь, что это видео не просто так сделано, и человек действительно знает, о чем говорит, поэтому напишите, пожалуйста, в комментариях, смотрели ли вы это видео, возможно, смотрите впервые его со мной, и можно ли вообще верить этой информации.
So as you might know, in Korea, hip-hop artists or singers that are in idol groups are not taken seriously, and they're actually looked down upon. While RM said that he doesn't care about what other people call him anymore, at the same time he's trying to criticize these people that call them this and that, or maybe labeling them as idols. These lyrics are pretty self-explanatory. J-Hope is proud of whatever he is, and most importantly, he's free. He has no irony anymore of who he is because he's always just himself. But one thing we should focus here are the artifacts that have been sitting on the table since the beginning of the MV. On the table we see two things, a sailor ship and a globe. And now there's an airplane in the background. As J-Hope addresses in his song Airplane 2, the airplane, globe, and ship all represent their current status, the freedom they have now, and pride for global success/influence.
Абсолютно согласен, ну типа, если сейчас в современном мире их кто-то там где-то критикует, ну типа, посмотрите на них, посмотрите на их успех, посмотрите на армию фанатов, посмотрите на армию. Посмотрите на просмотры на ютубе. О чем вы? За что их критиковать? Почитайте тексты переводов. Я считаю, что адекватный человек как минимум разберется перед тем, как критиковать. Или даже, знаете, не критиковать, а именно хейтить. То есть, что критиковать можно кого и что угодно. А хейтить это вот самое ужасное. Как мне так кажется. Ну, он типа говорит, ну продолжайте там, да, говорите, мне все равно. Я свободен, у меня все есть, все, что мне необходимо. А то, что вы там будете бла-бла-бла у меня за спиной, мне все равно, абсолютно. Блин, наверное, часто останавливаю. Оно, типа, я делаю то, что хочу, а ты займись своими делами. Ну, типа, вместо того, чтобы что-то кому-то доказывать, обсуждать, еще что-то, пытаться как-то переубедить, что они какие-то не такие или еще что-то. Занимайтесь своим делом, занимайтесь тем, что вам нравится. Круто. Мне нравится это выражение.
In this part of the MV, it's natural to have questions about what the drawings in the background actually mean. The drawings seem to be watched by many people and surveillance cameras, and the lyrics are talking about how haters are talking about BTS. Nobody but the members that drew the drawings themselves would actually know the true meaning behind the pictures, but relating to the lyrics, we can guess that it's something like a message towards haters. Maybe it's what BTS members think haters are like, or what they think haters might think of BTS themselves. Suga's drawing is pretty clear. A huge BT21 Shuki is crushing haters with his hands. It also has Irsam, Irpar, which are references from Deng,
Офигеть.
being the ultimate car pairs in the game's Hotta. The numbers could also mean their debut year, 2013, when they started from the ground, but now in 2018, they are this big. But Jin's picture is kind of hard to understand. He's drawn a kore, which means whale in Korean. Nobody but Jin will know the actual meaning of this, but to just speculate, kore is a slang for two meanings in Korean. First, a very powerful / rich person or group. It's a word used especially a lot in stock market terms. The second slang meaning of kore is actually a dick. Who knows, he might have been responding to the people chattering about this incident. Orsu is a sound Koreans make when they're excited in traditional old folk music. Jiwaja technically means a song that people sing when the nation is thriving or peaceful, but in short it's just another sound Koreans make when they're excited and to boost up the rhythm and good feeling of the song. Is basically a beat used in a specific Korean rhythm called 국거리장단. And for the visuals used in this part, this is the Chinese character 사랑해, which means love. And in the latter part of the MV, there's also a part when Jungkook appears and the word 사랑 is actually written in Korean. In this scene, Jimin stands out among the whirlpool of BTS members, which could imply that even though BTS is a group and all the members rotate around me, and a lot of people actually talk about us only in a set, nevertheless, I acknowledge my own existence and I stand out as a unique being. Thus, I love myself. Face Off is a famous movie directed by famous movie director Oh Sam. In the movie, the main characters who are an FBI agent and
Классный фильм, я
terrorists get to
смотрел
see
этот
their
фильм.
faces. As Aura mentioned earlier about new faces, J-Hope is also referencing the movie to show that they can be called or changed into a totally different person. Like his next lyrics
Они
state,
абсолютно
he can be
разные.
sometimes a superstar or a superhero. Suga, Jungkook, and V all say they have so many different people inside them, but they notice that they are all parts of themselves too, so they decide to accept them and love themselves. Plus, you can notice in V's lyric 고민보다는 그냥 달리네 is a reference from their song 고민보다 고, which has the message of YOLO.
Не слышал еще. Мне нравится вот этот момент. Такин.
어쩌고 저쩌고 basically means haters or people are talking shit about them, like blah 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 blah, this and that. 떠들어대셔, 너나 잘하셔. These two lines are a form of sarcasm that only Koreans will understand.
Не знаю.
떠들어대 and no
Не согласен, я тоже понял. Прикольно.
are both 반말, which is informal speech. But in the lyrics they attach 셔 and 하셔, which is a traditional form of
наверное, он об этом
honorific
имел в виду.
존댓말.
Вот
So
это.
the sentence here is a mix of informal and honorific speech.
Тут вообще ничего не
Thus,
понятно.
sentences like 너나 잘하셔, 너나 잘하세요 would be criticizing or being sarcastic towards people who think highly of themselves. But one more thing to notice in the MV again is the bunny in the moon. This comes from a Korean mythology that a rabbit on the moon is making the medicine for immortality. Thus, the rabbit on the
Ничего
moon
себе.
stands for prosperity and immortality in the Korean or East Asian culture. But why suddenly immortality? Because there's a saying in Korean, 욕을 많이 먹으면 오래 산다. It means if you get cursed a lot, you live long.
Вы представляете, сколько, я не знаю, миллионов, миллиардов лет они должны прожить? То есть, ну, типа, они же сейчас, наверное, самые популярные в мире артисты. Скорее всего, да.
The lyrics of this part says people are saying all kinds of shit to BTS. So in conclusion, regarding the amount of shit BTS received, they will have immortality and prosperity. Just
Абсолютно.
another fun thing. Rabbit in Korean is called tokki. And in this part, you can hear BTS singing in the background.
Офигеть. A giant shark tries to attack Ну,
BTS,
акула-то ж,
but they are
наверное,
unaffected,
хейтеры.
and they keep on singing, "You can't stop me loving myself." They don't care about the fact that a big shark in the bag is trying to eat them up, but rather they enjoy the situation by saying. Now on to the second part. There are so many Korean traditional references in this
Окей,
MV.
давайте.
The traditional clothing hanbok, the Korean house kiwatjip, the tiger which stands for Korea, the moon rabbit, the Korean fan dance, the word love, and the traditional lion dance called 북청 사자노름.
О,
Actually, this
да,
dance was
это
done during
прикольно.
the full moon, which has the meaning of warding off all bad luck or ghosts, and celebrating to bring prosperity and unity to the village. Furthermore, you can see that the choreographies were also affected by the traditional Korean dance moves, like the head spinning dance, 상모 돌리기. By these references, you can see that BTS is bluntly rebutting the criticism of them being westernized and focusing more overseas. At the end,
Ну, не знаю, я думаю, они хоть и становятся западными, но... Блин, почему сразу западными? Они становятся международными просто. И они тем самым свою культуру привносят, даже распространяют, показывают, популяризируют. Ну, то есть это круто. Типа, почему за это их надо там как-то критиковать? Нет, это наоборот очень круто, молодцы.
end of the MV, if you see very carefully, you can see that the globe has changed from South America to where you can see Korea. Also, on a side note, you can see the sun rising in the beginning and lots of other times during the MV, along with the shining moon. And the sun also goes down at the end. The sun, paired up with the artifacts, the globe, and the sailboat, kind of remind you of the 해가 지지 않는 나라, the empire on which the sun never sets, which was a term to describe the Spanish or British Empire in the past when they had so many colonies all over the world. Connected to the earlier references about the moon's prosperity and immortality, the sun also represents the fact that BTS is so global that their fandoms are everywhere around the world, which makes them a cultural superpower empire where the sun never sets. At the end of the MV, the sun actually does not completely go down, which means, despite the Love Yourself series might have come to an end, they still have so much time and new stuff to show us in the future. Lastly, as the director's comment, I think that the colorful, crazy, distracting style of the MV and the clothes they wore all stand for accepting every single side of you, promoting diversity, accepting differences throughout the world, ultimately by loving yourself.
Блин, ну вообще просто. И вы мне очень много писали под реакцией на этот клип, объяснений всяких там комментариев по смыслу клипа, но тут прям максимально сконцентрировано, максимально собрано. Блин, ну мне нравится их позиция в данном клипе и треке по поводу хейтеров, Ну вот, ну это правильно, типа, смысл всем отвечать, смысл там кому-то вообще что-то доказывать. Я буду делать то, что я хочу. Но это круто. Блин, позиция крутая и не знаю. Мне кажется, этой позиции нужно учиться многим, как блогерам, так и, не знаю, нашим артистам, например, которые там бывает иногда заедаются с кем-то и так далее. Нет, это правильно. Друзья, если вам понравилось это видео, поставьте обязательно лайк, подпишитесь на канал, нажмите на колокольчик, чтобы не пропускать новые видео на моем канале. Спасибо вам большое за вашу поддержку. 2000. Мы идем к вам. Все вместе. Пока.